Did you know that in the 1960s, you could be expelled from school for wearing these jeans, and today they're preserved in the Museum of Modern Art, MoMA? These jeans were once worn by hard-working miners in the goldfields of California and Nevada, and later they were worn by icons, from Marlon Brando to Kurt Cobain and Steve Jobs. And what about the tradition of sitting in a bathtub wearing them before the first use? In this video, you'll see the complete story of Levi's 501 jeans, pants made from just 4 pieces of fabric that evolved from simple workwear for laborers and cowboys into a true cultural classic. San Francisco, 1872. In a small sewing workshop, a tailor named Jacob Davis, originally from Latvia, notices a problem his regular clients, California gold miners, complain about every single day. Their work pants, made from canvas and early denim, tear at the pockets under the weight of gold dust, pickaxes, and ammunition belts. After struggling with the problem for several days, he comes up with a simple solution: copper rivets. He takes scraps of copper wire from a nearby shop, cuts them into half-inch pieces, and rivets the seams on one customer's pants. A month later, the customer returns. The pants are still intact. The rivets are holding. But Davis has neither the manufacturing capacity nor the capital to launch mass production, so he writes a letter to his supplier, Levi Strauss, a former immigrant from Bavaria, saying, "I have an idea that will make us rich." By that time, Strauss is already successfully selling fabrics and ready-made clothing through his store, Levi Strauss & Company. They meet in Davis's workshop. Strauss sees the prototypes and likes them. At his request, Davis produces a small test batch. They knew the rivet idea could easily be copied by others, so they decided to patent it. On May 20th, 1873, the first patent in U.S. history for a fastening system for workwear was issued. From that moment on, anyone who tried to copy riveted work pants risked a fine of up to $10,000. Jacob Davis, the man who came up with the rivet idea, continued working as a hired tailor in Levi's workshop until his death in 1908. He received a salary plus a percentage of the sales of the riveted pants, earning about $10,000 a year by 1900, roughly the equivalent of $350,000 today. After his death, his share transferred fully to Levi Strauss & Company. The first Levi's jeans were called XX. The number 501 appeared only in 1990, and its exact meaning is still unknown. According to one widely accepted theory, the company used it to code fabric lots. The 5 referred to fabric lot number 5, made from 9-ounce denim sourced from New Hampshire. The 0 indicated 0 additives, and the 1 marked the first model with rivets. This model would go on to become the longest-running design in fashion history, more than 150 years without any radical changes to its cut. While the earliest jeans were released without logos or identifying marks, relying only on their reinforced rivets, by 1886, a new detail appeared on the back pockets: the double arch. 2 orange-brown arcs stitched with a double seam. Why arches? Tailors noticed that this area was the first to tear. The arches were not just decorative, they reinforced the seam, both visually and structurally. The next element of the visual code appears in 1893, the 2-horse patch, a leather patch on the waistband measuring 2 by 3 inches. It shows 2 horses pulling a pair of jeans in opposite directions, with the words riveted and copper riveted above them. By 1912, the patch was changed to tobacco-colored leather, and by the 1930s, the text was removed altogether, leaving only the silhouette of the horses, a symbol of absolute durability. Levi's continued using leather patches until the mid-1950s, when the company switched to a special material called jackrin, a proprietary pressed paper with a leather-like coating. The reason was simple: washing machines. Natural leather became stiff and cracked when exposed to hot water. In 1936, another defining detail appeared on the right back pocket: the red tab, a small red cotton flag with the white Levi's logo. It was created by Julius Ackerman, a sales manager, after he noticed customers confusing Levi's jeans with competing brands in stores. The idea was simple. The red tab could be spotted from up to 50 meters away, even when the jeans were hanging on a rack. In 1928, Hollywood studios began searching for a visual identity for a new genre, the sound western. The main character, a cowboy, a sheriff, or a prospector, had to look simple but legendary. Costume designers noticed that on real ranches in California and Texas, people wore Levi's 501 jeans. Republic Pictures ordered 200 pairs from Levi's for background actors in the film Stagecoach, 1939. John Wayne, the American actor known as the King of the Western, wore 501s on screen with his pant legs tucked in. After the film's release, sales of these jeans in California increased by 40%. World War II led to significant design changes. From 1941 to 1945, Levi's shifted to military production, supplying 4 million pairs of jeans to the U.S. Army. The rivets were painted black so they wouldn't reflect light in the dark. The orange arcuate stitching was no longer embroidered to save thread. Instead, it was painted directly onto the pockets. After the war, in 1946, the jeans were redesigned. The arcuate stitching returned in orange, the rivets were polished silver again, and the red tab was definitively established as a permanent feature of the brand. By the way, Levi's registered the famous red tab as a trademark, specifically its color and shape, back in 1936. Under U.S. trademark law, to keep that registration active, a company must continue producing a certain portion of its products using only the registered element, a plain red tab with no text or with a small R. In 1951, the film The Wild One was released. Marlon Brando played Johnny Strabler, the leader of a biker gang. He wears Levi's 501s with a high waist, cropped at the ankles, and tied with a rope belt. After the film's release, schools in California and New York banned jeans as gang clothing. But this only fueled the brand's success. Levi's sales jumped by 25%. By the 1960s, Levi's 501 had been associated with workers, farms, and cowboys for nearly 100 years. But suddenly, they were adopted by people who rejected everything establishment. Hippies, students, and anti-war activists turned their grandfather's work pants into an anti-uniform, a symbol of resistance to the system. Why 501s? Not because they were fashionable, but because they were durable and real. They became the uniform of a revolution. In 1960, Levi's introduced the 505, the first pair of jeans with a metal zipper instead of 5 buttons. It was a different approach, aimed specifically at city dwellers, office workers, and fashion-conscious consumers. But the counterculture deliberately rejected the 505. Hippies chose only the button-fly 501s, the real, working, unsold to the system jeans. Buttons were associated with the gold rush, authenticity, and resistance to mass production. Young people began customizing their 501s to make them their own. They boiled them in bleach, creating snowy stains and acid wash effects. Some embroidered flowers and peace symbols onto the knees and legs. Others turned their jeans into flares, cutting open the hems and inserting colorful panels made from chintz or old bed sheets. The result was a pair of jeans you couldn't buy in any store. Every person wearing 501s became a co-author of Levi's. In August 1969, photographers at the Woodstock Music Festival captured hundreds of people, many of them wearing 501s. The red tab on the back pocket revealed the model from dozens of meters away, even through the crowd and the mud. During this period, the 501 became a visual code of an entire generation. By 1970, Levi's sales in the United States had tripled. Hippies turned the 501 into a cult item, even though many of them brought their jeans second-hand. According to stories from the time, some even stole other people's jeans from coin-operated laundromats. The 501 became jeans for everyone. A worker pulled them on in the morning, a hippie wore them to parties, and a biker rode in them at night. Sometimes it was the very same person. In the 1980s, the 501 entered a new phase, globalization. Sales expanded beyond the US to Europe, Japan, and Australia. At this point, Levi's was producing around 60 million pairs a year. During the grunge revolution of the early 1990s, jeans remained at the peak of popularity. In 1993, MTV aired Unplugged with Kurt Cobain. He appeared wearing torn, bleach-washed 501s, cropped at the ankles with patches. But even more iconic image of Cobain in 501s comes from the Smells Like Teen Spirit video. At the same time, something happened that few could have predicted just a few years earlier. Jeans began appearing in the collections of fashion designers and luxury fashion houses. In the first half of the 1990s, Levi's 501 still ruled the denim empire. They held 31% of the US market, and global sales reached $4.9 billion. However, teenagers aged 13 to 19, who had made up 21% of Levi's customers just 5 years earlier, began leaving en masse for competitors. Why? Baggy jeans emerged. Wide silhouettes, low-rise fits, and a distinctly street-driven look. Brands like Lee, Diesel, and JNCO took over MTV and hip-hop culture, becoming the new standard. The high-waisted, straight-leg 501 suddenly started to look like something your dad would wear. Still, after the downturn of the 1990s, the 501 didn't disappear, it was reborn. In the 2000s, Levi's made a strategic shift. The company expanded the line, creating an entire family of 501 variations, from the vintage-inspired 501-54 to the grunge-era 501-93. The original 501, having survived the crisis of the 1990s, gracefully stepped out of the spotlight, becoming the choice of a more mature audience, aged 25 to 45. Younger consumers moved toward new silhouettes, the 550, the 502 taper, and the 501-93, models that fit perfectly into the emerging streetwear landscape. Meanwhile, global markets, Asia and Europe, which together accounted for around 50% of sales, fell in love with the 501 as an embodiment of American authenticity, as a symbol of an era, stitched together with the same rivets once invented by tailor Jacob Davis. The cut of the classic 501 has remained unchanged since 1873, a high rise with a button fly, a straight leg, and 9-ounce denim. The secret behind the perfect fit of the 501 lies in the shrink-to-fit technology. Classic models were made from raw denim that shrank significantly when washed. This gave rise to a now legendary ritual. Buyers would purchase the jeans one size larger and sit in a bathtub wearing them. As the fabric dried directly on the body, it memorized every curve of the wearer. The result wasn't a mass-produced item, but a personal piece of armor perfectly molded to its owner. In the 21st century, Levi's shifted its focus towards sustainability. In the past, finishing a single pair of 501s required up to 42 liters of water. The Waterless program replaced traditional washing with ozone and stones, reducing water usage by up to 96%. The brand's modern manifesto is simple: buy better, wear longer. And people really do wear their 501s for decades. Maybe there's a piece of history hanging in your closet too. A pair of 501s that could tell a lot about you, but chooses to keep those stories to itself, like a loyal friend from a distant past. Let us know in the comments which Levi's model you own.